So losing my mother was huge. My father was gone. Now my mother's gone. At the very same time this all happened, my very best friend, who I had been friends with for years, whose name was Steve, passed away from HIV and AIDS. And this all hit all pretty much at the same time. My mom died. My best friend died. It was a real bad time. But I was at the height of success with COMA, and I was living in the limelight. And I would just continue to numb all this stuff that was going on with cocaine and alcohol. And so one day I had a doctor's appointment, a regular routine doctor appointment. I went in, and I had been being tested for HIV and AIDS the whole time, and I was always good. And it was one of those things you never thought would ever touch you, even though I had lost several friends to HIV and AIDS. And shockingly enough, my test came back positive, and I found out I was HIV positive. So now we've got the loss of my mother, the loss of my best friend from AIDS, and now I was just told that I was HIV positive. This was huge. So again, more drugs, more alcohol, more coma. I ended up losing my job in Florida and got offered a great job in Atlanta. Moved to Atlanta, and I kind of had a clean slate. So I had a great job, was starting a new life, met some Christians, and started to hear God calling me back again. And I started to take directions back towards the Lord, but still wanting to keep that one foot in the world, still wanting to be coma. I still wanted all the adulation and all the attention. So I would back and forth. I would hang out with these Christian people that I met, and I'd receive some counseling, trying to deal with the death of my mother and dealing with the fact that I was HIV positive. And back and forth with God again, games with God, back and forth. I could never make a decision and stick with it. I also got introduced to crystal meth while I was in Atlanta. I smoke the drugs, but the drugs like me. I smoke the drugs. Crystal meth is basically cocaine times 10. And it started to get its hooks into me. I got involved in the fetish scene in Atlanta. And just seeping into a deeper, darker place than I ever thought I ever would have gone to. But during this time that I had made some friends with these Christians, this one Christian wanted me to go to this seminar about homosexuality and how you're not born that way. But I was convinced I was born gay because I knew from a very early age that, when I look back at the beginning of my best friend Kevin, how I was infatuated with his father, I just knew I always had been born gay. So I went to this seminar and I listened to these different speakers throughout the day talk about homosexuality and the causes of it and everything. And again, another great moment where this man was talking and I could hear him crystal clear, and I realized he was describing my childhood. The rejection of other boys my own age, my father being very submissive and weak and really not being a dominant role in my life at all. In fact, I can't even really think of ever even having a conversation with my father. I had no natural, healthy bonding with men. And that's what I was listening to this man describe. And a great revelation came upon me that for the first time at this point, I'm probably 35, 36 years old, that I was not born gay. And I knew this. The Lord spoke it clearly to me that I was not born gay, that there were circumstances that contributed to my homosexuality, and that God did not make me that way. God didn't want me to stay that way. And that at this point, from now on, it was my choice. Was I going to remain a practicing homosexual and this deviant drag queen rock star, or was I going to embrace the truth that he had just shown me? Well, I embraced more cocaine is what I did. And I started to go into emotional panic attacks, and depression started to follow. I was using drugs at work. I was found out that I was using drugs at work, and of course I was fired. So then I was offered a job back in Tampa, and I was ready to come home to Tampa. Atlanta really wasn't my thing. And of course, the return of COMA. All the nightclubs did a lot of advertising, a lot of promoting the return of COMA, and I jumped right back into the whole scene again. Lots of money, lots of drugs, lots of fast living, and the success and fame of COMA.